What if the science that claims to measure your thoughts began as a philosophical argument about the nature of reality itself? Before psychology had laboratories, brain scans, or diagnostic manuals, it was born from something far older. Questions about the soul, the mind, and the meaning of existence. Today, we're traveling back through thousands of years of human curiosity to uncover the philosophical roots of psychology. These aren't just dusty ideas from ancient books. They are the very debates that still shape therapy, neuroscience, artificial intelligence, and even the way you think about your own life. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and tap the bell icon, because understanding the mind behind the science isn't just fascinating, it's the kind of knowledge that changes how you see yourself and everyone around you. Drop the word mind in the comments if you're ready to explore the philosophy that still drives psychology today. Philosophy before psychology. Long before anyone called themselves a psychologist, humans were asking, what is consciousness? What drives our behavior? The answers at first weren't experiments. They were myths, metaphors, and debates. Ancient Greece, the first mind wars. In 5th century BCE Greece, thinkers like Plato and Aristotle wrestled with the question of how we know anything at all. Plato believed that truth exists beyond the physical world. For him, knowledge is remembered, not learned. He described the soul as eternal, holding perfect forms of all ideas, beauty, justice, goodness, before we're even born. For Plato, learning is simply the mind recalling what it already knows. This is the nativist view. Knowledge is innate. Aristotle, Plato's own student, challenged his teacher. He saw the human mind as a tabula rasa, a blank slate shaped by experience. Knowledge, Aristotle argued, begins with observation of the world. Reason grows from sensation. This simple disagreement, are we born knowing or do we learn everything, is still alive today in debates about genetics versus environment, nature versus nurture. Beyond Greece, Eastern philosophies. While Greece debated reason and forms, India's Buddhist philosophers questioned whether a permanent self even exists. The Buddha taught that consciousness is a flowing stream, ever-changing, without a fixed core. This idea of anatta, or no self, foreshadows today's neuroscience, suggesting that the sense of I is a construction of the brain. Meanwhile, in China, Confucian thinkers tied mental harmony to ethics and social relationships, while Daoist sages described the mind as something that thrives only when it flows effortlessly with nature's rhythm. These traditions didn't separate psychology from philosophy. They treated them as one continuous search for balance and truth. Why this matters? These ancient arguments may feel remote, but they planted seeds for every major psychological debate, from whether intelligence is inherited, to whether meditation can dissolve the ego, to whether morality is universal or culturally shaped. Rationalism versus empiricism. Jump forward to 17th century Europe, where a new revolution in thinking was underway. Descartes, the ghost in the machine. French philosopher René Descartes declared, "I think, therefore I am." He believed that the mind and body are two distinct substances. Res cogitans, the thinking mind. Res extensa, the physical body. This dualism framed consciousness as something separate from matter. It also inspired centuries of experiments to locate the seat of the soul inside the brain. Descartes championed rationalism, the belief that reason, not experience, is the path to certain knowledge. Truth could be reached through clear and logical thought. Locke and Hume, the blank slate. Across the English Channel, Locke fired back. He argued for empiricism. The mind begins as a blank slate, and knowledge comes only through experience. Locke believed all ideas originate in sensation and reflection. Later, Hume pushed empiricism further, claiming even the self is nothing more than a bundle of perceptions. Why this debate still shapes psychology? Every psychological theory you know, from behaviorism to cognitive science, sits somewhere between these poles. When modern researchers ask whether intelligence is inherited or learned, they are echoing Descartes and Locke. From philosophy to science. By the 19th century, the question shifted. Could the mind be measured? Wundt and the birth of the lab. In 1879, Wilhelm Wundt opened the first psychology laboratory in Leipzig, Germany. He used controlled experiments and introspection to study sensation, reaction times, and attention. Psychology officially became a science. William James, The American Bridge. Across the Atlantic, James fused philosophy and biology into functionalism, asking not just what the mind is, but why it functions the way it does. James saw consciousness as a flowing stream, a direct echo of Buddhist thought, and believed psychology must explore how mental processes help us adapt to life. Other early giants. Sigmund Freud, though known for psychoanalysis, was deeply influenced by philosophical ideas about the unconscious and human drives. Gestalt psychologists argued that perception is more than the sum of its parts, linking back to Plato's search for eternal forms. What's striking is that none of these pioneers never abandoned philosophy. They simply added measurement and method to age-old questions. Philosophy still lives in psychology. Even with brain scans and artificial intelligence, psychology hasn't escaped its philosophical roots. Consider today's burning questions. Free will versus determinism. Are our choices truly ours, or dictated by neurons and environment? Consciousness. Is it a byproduct of complex computation, or something irreducibly subjective? The self. Is your identity a stable core, or just a narrative the brain tells itself? These are not merely scientific puzzles. They are the same riddles Plato, the Buddha, and Descartes wrestled with, reframed in the language of data and code. Key takeaways. 1. Ancient questions never die. From Plato's forms to Buddhist no-self, the deepest psychological debates remain timeless. 2. Nature versus nurture. Aristotle versus Plato, Locke versus Descartes, still alive in every genetic study and developmental theory. 3. Science needs philosophy. Without philosophical clarity, experiments risk measuring what without understanding why. Psychology may now rely on fMRI machines and algorithms, but at its heart, it's still a philosophical quest to know what it means to be conscious, to choose, to exist. So the next time you hear about a breakthrough in neuroscience or mental health, remember, it all began with thinkers sitting under the stars asking the most human question of all. Who are we, really? If this journey into the philosophical roots of psychology opened your mind, don't stop here. Like this video to keep these ideas alive. Subscribe to Psych Rhythm for more deep dives into the power of thought, mind, and human behavior. And tell me in the comments, which philosopher, Plato, Aristotle, Descartes, or Locke, do you think understood the mind the best? Your answer might just spark the next great debate. Thank you for watching, and take care until we see you next time.